Welcome, students and scholars. In this first ASC 105 lesson, we are starting with a very simple but powerful question. What does GAAP really mean? Many learners hear the word GAAP and think it is just a list of accounting rules. But in real financial reporting, GAAP is much more than that. It is the authority system that guides how financial information is measured, recorded, reported, and explained. When accountants prepare financial statements, they are not simply choosing whatever looks convenient. They are following a structured reporting discipline. That discipline helps financial statements become more consistent, more comparable, and more useful for investors, lenders, creditors, management, auditors, regulators, and other users. ASC 105 comes first because before we study detailed accounting standards, we must understand where those standards get their authority. Later, when we study assets, liabilities, equity, revenue, expenses, leases, taxes, consolidations, and other topics, each topic will have its own detailed rules. But ASC 105 gives us the foundation. It tells us that US GAAP is not just a random collection of ideas, it has a source of authority, and that authority matters. Without this foundation, a learner may read accounting standards without understanding why those standards carry weight or how they fit into the wider reporting system. GAAP guides four major reporting decisions. First, it guides measurement. What dollar amount should be assigned to a transaction, balance, asset, liability, revenue, or expense? Second, it guides timing. When should that item be recorded in the financial statements? Third, it guides disclosure. What important information must be explained in the notes so users understand the numbers properly? Fourth, it guides presentation. How should summarized financial information appear on the face of the financial statements? These four decisions show why GAAP is practical. It affects not only what accountants think, but what users actually see in reported financial information. For non governmental entities in the United States, the FASB Accounting Standards Codification is the central authoritative source of GAAP. This means that when an accountant needs to support a financial reporting conclusion, the codification is the starting point. It organizes authoritative guidance into topics, subtopics, sections, and paragraphs so accountants can research and apply the correct accounting treatment. The word authoritative is important. It means the guidance carries official standing. When applicable guidance exists, an entity cannot ignore it simply because another treatment looks easier, smoother, or more attractive. Authoritative GAAP creates discipline in reporting decisions. Public companies that are SEC registrants have an additional layer to consider. They begin with the same FASB codification base, but they must also consider applicable SEC rules, releases, and staff guidance. This does not mean that the SEC replaces the codification. It means that SEC registrants may have extra public company reporting requirements and interpretive guidance to apply alongside GAAP. Private companies and many non public entities generally focus on the codification as their main GAAP reference, while SEC registrants must be alert to the additional SEC layer. This distinction is important because the reporting environment can change depending on the type of entity. Sometimes an accountant may face a transaction or event where direct guidance is not immediately obvious. ASC 105 teaches that judgment must still follow discipline. The accountant should first search for direct authoritative guidance. If direct guidance is not available, the accountant should consider accounting principles for similar transactions or events within authoritative GAAP. Only after that should other sources be considered carefully. But this does not mean we can freely force an analogy wherever we like. If the authoritative guidance says a treatment should not be applied by analogy or prohibits that type of application, then the accountant must respect that limitation. A key idea in GAAP is the difference between recognition and disclosure. Recognition means an item is formally recorded in the financial statements. It affects the numbers that appear in statement totals, such as assets, liabilities, revenue, expenses, gains, or losses. Disclosure is different. Disclosure provides important context in the notes to the financial statements. It may explain assumptions, risks, uncertainties, accounting policies, or additional information that numbers alone cannot fully communicate. Recognition and disclosure work together, but they are not the same thing. Good reporting needs both reliable numbers and meaningful explanations. Let us use a simple example. Suppose a company buys a production machine. That purchase may need to be recognized as an asset because the company now controls a resource that will help generate future economic benefits. GAAP will guide the amount, timing, and classification of that recognition. Now, suppose the machine also creates a warranty exposure or a possible future obligation. Depending on the facts and materiality, that risk may need disclosure in the notes, even if no separate amount is recorded at that moment. This example shows that one business event may create both recognition questions and disclosure questions. The main takeaway from this first lesson is that ASC 105 gives us the foundation for thinking under US GAAP. GAAP creates reporting discipline. ASC 105 explains the source of that authority. SEC registrants may need to consider an additional SEC layer. When direct guidance is not available, judgment still begins with authoritative sources, not preference or convenience. Recognition and disclosure are separate but connected parts of useful reporting. If these ideas are clear, the rest of US GAAP becomes easier to study because every later topic will depend on the same authority framework. In the next ASC 105 lesson, we will move from the idea of GAAP authority to the practical skill of finding GAAP answers. We will look at how the codification is organized through topics, subtopics, sections, and paragraphs, and how an accountant can move from a business question to an authoritative research conclusion. That next lesson is important because knowing that GAAP has authority is only the beginning. We also need to know how to navigate that authority. If this lesson helped you, please like the video, share it with your colleagues, and subscribe to Commerce Regiment for more structured accounting standards lessons.